Hi, I'd like to introduce you to the Panther Valley Railroad. One of the reasons I'm doing this is I had a lot of friends, I have a lot of friends that are in the hobby, and most of them have garage-size layouts, basement-size layouts, room-size layouts. My original intent is to move this into my storage shed, which is roughly, I believe, roughly 12 feet by 12 feet, and what happened was that we just didn't have space. That's the storage shed of mine, although we've emptied it out, is the temperatures here drop to below zero in the winter and above 100 in the summer, and that's not good for the track. The expansion and the contraction is just really bad for it, so we wanted to insulate it and put a small heater and air conditioner in there and keep the temperature somewhat normal, or within a certain range, to protect the railroad and equipment and things like that were going to be in there. Well, what happened was, over time, two of my children moved out. One of them wanted to live on their own, and the other one went to college. And so I have a couple empty rooms, and I decided I was going to use one of those in the house to rebuild the railroad. So this track plan is kind of null and void. Originally, it was going to be a part of what we're going to build in the storage shed. This was going to be against the back wall, and there was going to be two tables to the right and to the left, wings if you want to call them that, and that would be the main line, and this would be just a small branch line that connected. In the background there, as you can see, there's a track that runs off to the left there, and then again, the track connects over there. I was going to redo that as well. And then over in that corner, I have a small mining facility or coaling facility, depending on who it was that was looking at it. The room I'm in is the family room. It's pretty good size, but we watch TV in here and have a couple of couches, and so I just moved one of the couches forward and made room for this. It's just a 3x8 layout, and people really liked the concept of my layout. I have two industrial yards, or not industrial yards, but industrial siding areas here, and another one, there's just a sidetrack there, and another one up here, which I was going to actually expand upon. I only set that down so we could just play with the cars and get the wiring done and make sure everything worked, and then I was going to expand on that into a 4 or 5 track yard section. Right now it's just 3 like the one below, but at the same time we never got to finish this. My kids moved out, we have the spare space now, and I'm going to move it. And the original idea was just to practice with this, and we've learned some different concepts and stuff. When I was my first model railroad, I was 12, 13 years old when we started, and that was a long time ago, back in the 70s, early 70s. There wasn't a lot of things to choose from. You had brands like Lifelike that made grass and things like that, but it's not like today. I'm not plugging any particular manufacturer or product here, but I do want to describe some of the situations that I was in when I created this. Now there's so many different products, from Woodland Scenics, Scenic Express, Arizona, I think it's Mineral and Rock, Bosch, Notch. I just use a lot of different things. Some of these DPM, I bought several DPM kits. My youngest son and I are putting together now some for the newer railroad. Anyways, let me get on with this. The road here, some of the products we've practiced with is like the Woodland Scenic Smooth It. That part of the road in the background I really like. It worked well. And this section over here was the same. And it's a lot more versatile than the method we first tried. One of the first things we did, well, we tore it up. It was so bad. Anyways, this section here is a Notch or Bosch road section. I can't remember which. We bought both. One was N scale, and it was far too narrow. The cars were side by side, or when they were side by side, the N scale cars looked like they were going to sideswipe each other. It was so narrow. So I went to an HO scale sized pre-made road, and that seemed to be perfect. So that is now the method, or the width I'm using for all my roads. And unless I make a bigger highway or something, but for my country roads, that's all it's going to be, is the HO scale width. Correct, width they claim is correct for that. Panther Valley which is what I patterned this after. It was an area that I had friends in the 1970s, and it was just a small industrial area. They had some railroading. It was just surrounded by hills cut off from the rest of the town, but it was almost right in town, but you just didn't know it was there. There was only a small highway sign off to the right, and it said Panther Valley, and you drive down there, and that's where it was. And it had a whole bunch of little industries and warehouses, and all intermixed, interspersed between that were people's homes. Many of them were nice homes. Some of them were older homes. Like I said, this area is it's just a neat little area. You got the railroads, people's homes backed up, their yards backed up to the railroad tracks. The warehousing, you've got, little industries, little like metal shops, things like that. And although we never got to the top of this and finished it, I was pretty happy with the layout itself. This loop here is part of the double wishbone and goes back down the hill and comes this way and over here. And then, like I said, there's that industrial area that I've focused the camera on for most of this. And sorry about my camera, it's just a tablet, and the cameras aren't very good on this. I know a lot of cameras even on phones are far better than this, but it's what I've got to use. Batteries are dead on my actual video camera. But anyways, that double loop comes down the hill, down this way, and part of it goes into here, into this tunnel, and then there's the upper layer there. But that tunnel comes in underneath here. It curves around underneath and then comes out over here. And the main line comes out over there. But anyways, then loops back around this way. I made a dry gully here. I'm not going to get into a lot of this, but anyways, that's the Panther Valley Railroad. And being on a 3x8 table, I did use 1-inch foam board on top of thin paneling board. They called it a panel board. Anyways, it was cheap. It was easy to do, and it's plenty sturdy enough with the bracing underneath. But all my friends are telling me that, oh, that's a great layout for its size. Very, very usable, I guess. And they wanted me to keep some kind of record of this layout itself for others to show what you can do with a small space. Some of the space is wasted with that track in the back. My dog's laying here on the floor, so let me walk around him. Ugh. And see, that space there is, if I wasn't going to add this to another, the other part of the layout out in the storage shed, I would have made more use of this with wider curves, bigger loops to build in for the yard there and the industrial yard down there, or industrial sidings, and perhaps even a full mining facility here. But anyways, it turned out okay. I'm pretty happy with it. Let me show you where we're going to be building next, because like I said, we had a plan for this, and now that's kind of null and void in just a second. Okay, this is one of the areas where my son moved out of. We moved his bed and everything out of here and created this table section here. This section in the back here is roughly 38 inches in depth and about 5.5 feet long. I'm not sure of the exact measurements now. This area back there is roughly, from that end to that end is about 6.5 feet, and it too is about 38 inches deep, depending on what I want to do with it. And then this area here is 6.5, 7 feet. It's about 3.5 feet wide and runs in that direction. Any one of these spaces can be used for its own model railroad. So I have a lot of different options here. I have a track plan idea, and I'm pretty happy about that. That quilting up there is that's an idea that I saw on YouTube. One of the great videos you can use and learn from to do scenery, track planning, whatever you need to do. There's just so much there. This stuff just didn't exist when I was a kid. You had to buy books, and there weren't that many books out. But anyways, that quilting is a great idea. I don't know the man's name, but he puts out a good video. It's Colorado's Joint Line Railroad, and he uses it as a terrain surface on hills, and I have to tell you, it looks exactly like the hills surrounding my house here in the high deserts of Nevada, with the way the sagebrush looks and the grasses and everything else. I mean, it's like almost perfect. And I think he said he's modeling it after Colorado, where he's from. And anyways, it's a great video to watch. It's a new technique. I've seen nothing else like it, and it's pretty good. I'm gonna use a lot of different techniques on this, because there's just lots of different things I want to do. But anyways, I have so much more space now that the old railroad's just going to be torn apart. I'm just going to use some of the pieces and the the buildings, the track, and stuff like that, and try to use it, reuse it here, repurpose it, as they call it nowadays. I guess that's the politically correct term, or whatever they've been using lately. Anyways, and the little sections like the oasis I built for my wife, I'll probably just cut out and put on here someplace, because like I said, I'm using 1-inch foam, and the layout out there is also built on 1-inch foams, and we don't have the pink or blue foam, which I wish we did. We have this, I can't get that here, and what we do have is this, I think they call it extruded foam, similar to the pink, but it's a yellowish color, which is actually, when you peel off the aluminum foil, is almost a dirt color, so it comes out pretty good. But I had started a layout prior and used this stuff, and it works okay, except I had taken the time to peel off all of the aluminum foil, and it was just very, very time consuming. And so when I redid it, I just left the foil on, and with everything that goes on top of it, there's been no problems with anything lifting off the this foil stuff. That's an outer lining. It's like I guess it's a moisture proofing or something for building, when you're building your walls. Anyhow, the 1-inch foam, it works great. It's far better than, say, 1-inch plywood, at least in my opinion, because it's so much lighter. You can actually carve into it if you want to make depressions into the terrain, and you can also get it in 2-inch and do it that way. A lot of the Woodland Scenic subterranean products work very well for different things, and I've been using those on top of this, and they're risers and things like that. It's just, I mean, the hobby has just changed so much. It's so much better than it was when I was a kid. So anyways, there we go. Hopefully I covered the previous layout, because it's going to be torn apart one way or the other. I need either the track off of it, or it's just got to be put out in the storage shed and never used again. Except maybe when I have grandkids or something, I'll rebuild it and give it to one of them. Whatever. But right at this time, I plan on reusing the track and stuff, so it's basically going to be just scrap wood and scrap foam. And anyways, hope you have a nice day, and hope I was able to describe the layout to you, because I thought about it after all the compliments I got, and for a 3x8 layout, there's a lot that can be done on there. And like I said, we had a lot of fun switching between the lower industrial tracks and the upper industrial tracks, and having the main line going around, and so anyways, that's about it. Some of the products I'm using: Woodland Scenics, Craft Bond glues. That's a pretty matte looking when it dries, pretty flat. There's no shine, not too much shine to it. I also use Mod Podge, however you pronounce it, for a lot of different things. And just some cheap paints from Walmart over here. They're like 50 cents a tube. You can see them there, and different things. Oh, there's one of the kits we're building. Anyhow, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed my first video. I really don't know what I'm doing. Usually I'm just recording my kids, so it doesn't matter what I'm doing, because they're the scene. And hope I described that layout to you well, because it is something. I mean, a 3-foot by 8-foot space may sound like a lot, but it really took up almost no space at all. It really didn't. Once we put it up, it was just, I can maneuver around it, I can reach across it. It's just a great layout, I thought, and so did others. So there you go. You have a great day. Thanks a lot.